Hey folks, Malforian here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Dev Diary 119 Tours and Travel for Crusader Kings 3. This is going to be our first major look at the rework of how events, feasts and hunts and all that stuff kind of works in the game, and our initial look at kind of how those systems are going to be built out in the upcoming expansion. It is quite a long Dev Diary, so if you enjoy it, make sure to hit that like button. We're just going to get straight into it. There's a lot of pictures though, so that's going to be nice. And we're just going to get straight into it. So first we're going to talk about travel. As we said in last week's diary, we want to reinforce the connection between the character and the map. What's the best way to do that? Traveling. Every character in the game will now have a bona fide location with a new travel mechanic in place. Every character travels to activities that aren't held in their current location, including the AI. Whenever you plan a grand tournament or accept an invitation to your vassal's feast, you'll now have to make decisions about how best to get there. Will you be daring and choose a dangerous route or play it safe? Who will you hire as your caravan master to ensure the journey goes smoothly? So the basics: speed, safety, and danger. Every travel plan has two basic stats, which we saw last week: speed and safety. Speed is represented by percentage, where 100% is the standard, so normal moving speed. To no one's surprise, this affects how fast your character moves from province to province. Safety is range between 1 and 100 and counteracts danger. So obviously, do you want to take maybe a quick dangerous route or a long safe route, kind of giving you a bit of decision as to what happens, a bit more like just spontaneous events and things like that happening as well, gives a bit of spiciness to even mundane things. You can now expect to encounter a dazzling array of situations as you travel across the map. Perhaps you'll encounter a hermit living in the wilderness. So here's a new event, I think. I don't think this is in the game currently. So basically just saying, oh, that's what the... I was thinking about this the other day, like one of the preview images was a cave. And after the announcement last week, I was like, what was that cave about then? And here we go. It's a hermit living in a cave. There you go. So traveling through, as you can see here, they're traveling through Babrusk, I think is how you pronounce that. How long it's going to be till you get to your destination. And then obviously just a little event saying, oh, you've bumped into this hermit. And here's like some options you can make. And then, or perhaps you'll meet someone from a different culture who can speak your native tongue. A cultural fascination. Here, they're in Tarnow. 4 months to your next destination, and again, just bumped into someone. A little event here. Oh, tell me about your people. Oh, looks like you maybe learn something about their culture or something. Maybe you can convert to their culture. Interesting. Or maybe their language. It's probably language, isn't it? So you probably learn their language or something like that. So again, some little cool things here. Or maybe you will even get a knight errant to convince them to join your entourage. I love this guy's armor. It looks amazing. The one thing I actually didn't cover last week is they did say, I think there's a bunch of new clothing options and things like that to kind of show the progress of time. I missed that last week, but yeah, there's going to be a load of new clothing and things, so we're going to get a bunch of new kind of options in game. You won't see people just wearing the same thing. So you bump into a knight errant, kind of a little event here in Miranda de Ebro. 30 months to your next destination. That's a long way. I wonder if it's going on Crusade. Yeah, just saying you meet a knight, and again, just some more cool events. Danger lurks around every corner of the map. Every province has a danger score based on a variety of factors like terrain, county control, owner, and a bunch more options. Traveling through the mountains might expose you to treacherous cliffs, while sailing seas presents its own unique hazards, of course. Danger on a mountain trail. So here you go, you're in the mountains, you're in Moran. And again, just like a cool event based around you traveling through the mountains and what's going to happen there. And then if you go by sea, the same thing. You can't just go by sea and kind of avoid all these options. There's some new ones. This guy's in the Arabian Sea. He's got some dangerous squall. Destroys your sails and traveling at sea. So I guess this slows you down. Maybe you can go into port and repair and carry on traveling and things like that. So it looks like we're getting a bunch of new events. I don't think they said how many new events we're getting. But obviously with this travel system, there's got to be a lot of them to kind of spice up the travel, so it's not just the same thing happening over and over again. Well, hopefully anyway. If not, I'm sure mods will cover it with a bunch of things. There are several dynamic factors that affect how dangerous provinces are. For example, holdings decrease danger, while any army activity will also increase danger. While there's always a possibility of encountering danger, a well-prepared traveller who invests in their safety will encounter dangerous events far less frequently. So it's cool, it is dynamic. So if you're travelling... Say you're in France, you're traveling to the Crusades. If there's if you're traveling, I don't know, through the Byzantines, and the Byzantines are having a huge civil war, or maybe they're getting invaded by somebody, and you're traveling through their land whilst that's happening, it's going to kind of alter the danger score. And, you might just be like, oh, I'm just traveling through. Oh, there's a big siege here. And, I don't know, something might happen. Maybe some of your entourage gets killed. Maybe you get chased away by the invading army or a bunch of things like that. It just looks like there is like dynamic changes, which is really cool. It's not just like a set thing, kind of set and forget. You could start on your pilgrimage. Maybe it takes like 2 years to get there and back. And when you set off, there were no wars. But when you've set off, there's a bunch of wars on your route and that added danger. But as we saw last week, you can get like bodyguards and things like that. So it looks like you can kind of prepare for it if you think you might encounter some danger as well. So yeah, here we go. An example of planning for a pilgrimage. So we'll take a quicker look at this. So yeah, hire cultural ambassador. Be interested to see what difference that makes. Maybe the lands you travel through like you more, maybe, if they're not your same culture or something like that. Circumspect, I'm not sure what that means. Is that the route? Does that mean we take like a slightly different route? Maybe. 118% speed, 35 safety, so quite dangerous. I'm guessing 100 is safe? No, 100 is a danger, isn't it? I think they said. And then, yeah, this is the route they're taking. I don't know if they go into it later. I don't know what these symbols mean. Oh, that means mountains. Oh, yeah, I think that's what it means. I think this is saying like this is danger because you're in mountains, so I guess you're more likely to get events that are bad maybe for you because you're obviously going through the Alps here. Unless you've got elephants, it's going to be a bad time. And then these other ones, I think these just mean, I don't know what these sad faces. I thought this was the rival icon last week, but I'm not sure if it is. I think it might just mean that there's a chance for a bad event to happen. I'm not 100% sure. They might go through it again, obviously, in a minute. And then Caravan Master, along with the travel system, we introduced the Caravan Master as a new core position. The Caravan Master is the face of your journey and handles all the banal, practical elements of traveling. Having a skilled character will increase both your speed and safety whilst providing some passive bonuses to army speed. Oh, that's cool. It does actually affect other systems as well. Because I was thinking if you're not interested in this, if it only affected how you traveled, it'd be kind of like expensive, I guess, to have it all the time. But it does give you bonuses elsewhere, so it increases your army movement speed, so you want a good Caravan Master, I guess. Supply limits, you definitely want one. And then Court Grandeur, so it is linking to the last expansion as well, which is cool. It's good to see them kind of a bit of a link between the two expansions. I kind of thought there'd be more, but at least there is some. So it also increases your Court Grandeur, which is cool. So yeah, nice. It does give you other bonuses. And obviously it works like every other core position, whether they're good, bad. Does it say what stats affect it? Doesn't actually yet. That'll probably be in a later dev diary, I guess. I imagine maybe stewardship? I imagine maybe stewardship will be the highest factor towards it, kind of organizing and kind of setting on a route. Maybe that and diplomacy. Wonder if it's kind of a mixture of the two. Again, I don't think it mentions here what the stats are that affect it, but I'd imagine it would be something like that. So there you go. I guess whoever is up here will give you army speed, 5% increase, supply limit 10%. That's not too bad, up to 10%. Or monthly Court Grandeur change up to 5%. So yeah, these aren't too bad. Supply limit 10% extra is not too bad at all. Nice little bonus when you're not traveling. And then travel options. Every time you set out on a journey, you have to pick 2 travel options. These additional features provide a range of bonuses to be added to your travel. Experienced Captain, Mercenary Guards, Jungle Stalker. I guess, again, these are based on where you're going. Oh, it actually says this down here, so I'll just read it down here rather than putting it in my own words. Most travel options have an associated cost for the benefits they provide. Having experienced sea captains will add a salty sea dog to your entourage, thus making your journey across open water safe. Well, safer. Some are unlocked by buildings in your domain or your character's traits. So, yeah, they did mention last week that buildings are going to get a slight rework, and I think at the end of this dev diary, they say that's going to be next week's dev diary, giving a bit more detail on how buildings are going to get reworked. Because as we thought last week, the better buildings you have, the more it affects this game, kind of like these additions to the game. So I guess if you have, I don't know, actually ports maybe or something, I don't know, maybe these are cheaper or better. Maybe Desert Warriors, if you have, I don't know what building affects these, but whatever building affects like mounted things, I imagine this is maybe cheaper or better at that point as well. So to illustrate, if you have built stables or camelries up to level 4 or higher, you can unlock the superior mount travel option and get a nice boost to speed. It costs nothing, of course, since you already own the stables. Oh, so there we go. As we thought last week, yeah, the better certain buildings are, it's going to affect the cost of things. It even says here, if you have a level 4 camelries, the higher, I guess maybe higher Desert Warriors? Unlock the superior mounts travel option. Oh, it isn't shown here. Okay, yeah, there's a superior, oh no, it's right here. it's in the next screenshot. So yeah, this is free if you already have the building that is kind of linked to it. So that's cool. So just upgrading your lands, the better your lands are, the cheaper these travel options are, which makes sense. I like how that works. Like, if you've already got buildings that give you really good mounts, why would you then have to pay to get better mounts? But if you're a realm that doesn't have any mounted things, it's going to cost you money. But maybe you have cheaper something, higher forest guides. It'd be cool if you have a lot of forests in your realm. Maybe they're cheaper or better or something like that. But yeah, I like this, that it's linked into your buildings and they affect like how good things are, or at least the cost of them. So that's really, really cool how that works. Another example is the Train Knights travel option, which is unlocked by having military academies built in your domain. When selected, 3 of your least skilled knights are added to your entourage, your least skilled. It increases your safety, and there's a chance for each knight to increase their skills across the journey. Oh, again, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, so if you have military academies, why does it take your least skilled knights? That seems bad. You're really going to have to keep an eye on. One thing, actually, it takes your least skilled knights. We've all done it where our heir is a knight, and we just forget to deny him the ability to, and then he gets killed in battle or something. It'd be super annoying to bring your like heir as a knight on your travel, and then they like fall off a mountain or something like that, and you'd be like, oh, I forgot to deny him. Especially it takes your worst knights. I don't know why it takes your worst ones. I guess because it has a chance to increase their skill. You bring along your weakest knights to train and learn for the challenge. I guess it kind of makes sense. It does actually say it there. That's why. You bring your worst ones because you want to bring them along, give them some experience, and it buffs them. Again, that's cool. Increasing how good your knights are through this, because currently there isn't really any way to like directly improve your knights. Through it, there's random events that can do it, but there's no way to like, oh, I want to improve my... Again, like this says, your 3 worst knights. There's no way to really do that in game unless I'm missing something. Whereas this, you can bring them along. They'll get a little buff. They'll maybe get a little bit better at being knights. So that's cool. Again, yeah, this is really cool. I really like how this works. Kind of tied it into other aspects of the game. And, having a better realm makes this system better. While it's not required to select travel options, especially for short journeys, they can prove quite useful when setting out longer journeys such as a pilgrimage. This is also a way to affect which characters join your entourage. The groups of characters who travel at your side. Some characters, such as your court physician and bodyguard, will automatically join your entourage. Oh, that's pretty good. Otherwise, your entourage will primarily be composed of characters relevant to the activity that you're traveling. Your knights will join tournaments. Oh, so I guess if you go on like pilgrimage, you'll get a lot of your bishops and things like that maybe come automatically with you. Your court chaplain will come with you automatically. Whereas it's saying if it's for like military or kind of martial focused, your martial characters will generally come along with you for the ride. So again, yeah, I like this. It's not just like a simple system. They've obviously put a lot of effort into like how this works, which is cool. And then custom route editor, I saw a lot of people asking about this last week, so it is cool this is included. When planning a journey, you will always be presented with the shortest path to your destination, but perhaps you really don't want to travel through your rival's lands, or maybe you've always wanted to see the splendor of Rome. Well, fear not, we have included a custom route editor. So, as you can see here, I guess this is I don't know where they're going. Pious pilgrimage. I guess they're going to Rome in this. Oh, yeah, the Vatican is the destination. Klingenberg is their capital. And, yeah, this is obviously, I guess, the most direct route. And then what they're saying, in this option here, customized route, they've decided to go this way, I guess. Oh, yeah, so I think this is Rival's land. We were talking about this before. I think this is Rival's land, maybe. And then through this way... There's less of that, maybe? I'm not sure. Whichever way it is, anyway, as they're saying, you can customize. It looks like entirely. Looks like you just add, kind of like Google, if you ever use Google Maps for route planning, it looks kind of a bit like that. You just add a destination on the way, and I guess it automates the route between the places. You haven't got to click like on each county to plan the route. You just say, I want to go via Abensberg, and then it's put out a route around here, and then it'll automate the rest of the route down. It looks like that's how it works. Anyway, oh, is this on the way down and then the way back up? Because capital via Bregenz, and then the Vatican, and then Abensberg. So it looks like maybe you plan the route there and back, and it kind of covers it that way by the looks of it, which is pretty cool. Especially as it says, you can kind of customize whether you run into somewhere or not. We'll see kind of like how different this works out for you, I guess. But I like that this is in by default, because I know if they launched it without this, people would be like, where's the route planner? I don't want to go that way. I want to go this different. I want to go on a crazy route. I want to go from The HRE to Rome via Jerusalem or something crazy. I just want to go on a crazy travel, so that'd be pretty fun actually for some random things to do. Just like, oh, I want to go from London to Paris via India. Just do like a crazy route across the map. I wonder if there's a limit on how far you can make it. It'd be interesting to see exactly how that works. We're allowed to customize your route by adding waypoints across the map. If employed cunningly, you'll be able to avoid assassins hired by your nemesis or gaze up at Caesar's needle from the hallowed streets of Rome. We allow you to customize your route by adding waypoints across your path, as we were looking at before. If employed cunningly, you're able to avoid assassins hired by your nemesis or gaze up at Caesar's needle from the hallowed streets of Rome. So I wonder then if you're playing as like a vassal. Again, we'll use the Kaiser and the HRE as an example. If he's going to Rome, if his route, do you get like told? I presume you get told like, hey, the Kaiser's going to be traveling through our land on his way to Rome. Do you want to set up an ambush on him? I'm wondering how that works. I'm guessing it is going to be something like that, where you're going to be told like, you know, your liege is traveling through your lands, maybe even your vassal, maybe even a rival king. If you're the HRE and, hey, the French king's traveling through our lands on the way to Russia or something. Do you want to do something? Do you want to invite him maybe? Maybe invite him to something, or do you want to ambush him in this place? They haven't gone through that. Like, if you're on the other side, you're not the one planning it, but the person whose kind of land is getting traveled through, will you get notified of that happening? I'm guessing you will, but I don't think it's been covered anywhere. Like I say, it would make sense if it was that way. Anyway, additional notes. Since travel inevitably it touches every aspect of the game, I figured I'd spend some time here at the end attempting to answer a few questions that are sure to arise. So they're going to kind of head off some questions. The focus of expansion is to create travel system, which will specifically work for getting characters to and from activities. With that being said, we endeavored to make the system as flexible as possible for future work and iterations, which is why it's a free feature. So this is going to be part of the free patch. It's not going to be part of the expansion. I imagine the expansion is obviously going to have way more things built around it, but it's going to be a free feature. So the actual travel system is free for everyone, which is fantastic. Keeps going with their kind of promise, not really a promise, but as they said at the launch of the game, they want every mechanic to be free. Yeah, every expansion, the main mechanic will generally be part of the free patch. They don't want to be like CK2 where all the mechanics were in expansions, and if you had different expansions, you had certain mechanics and didn't in other ones. It made it hard for them to kind of integrate systems because they didn't know which mechanics players would have. So they're keeping to that. This is going to be part of the free update, which is awesome. The travel mechanic has also been integrated into small activities such as Meet Peers, Grand Blot, and Grand Rite. We're currently working on integrating the mechanic in more game systems. So I don't know if that means before the expansion comes out. I imagine so. So basically every event, basically in the game that involves you going somewhere is ultimately, it looks like, going to have this feature implemented. That's what I was saying before. I don't know if there's any way to like automate it, whether you can do it and then there's just an option to be like, yeah, just default travel. I don't want to be like customizing it every time. So, well, they did say already there is a default route, but adding like all the options and things like that, I don't know if there's a way to just automate that bit of it. So we'll see obviously further in a future dev diary probably. Some schemes are still completable while you or your target is traveling. For example, you can still sway a character or attempt to learn their language while either of you are traveling. You cannot, however, attempt to seduce someone who is not in your location. The power of letters is only so good. These schemes will be frozen until both characters are no longer traveling. So yeah, I think if it didn't work this way, you just get locked out of so many options of the game because either you or them might be traveling. So it would be annoying if it basically like no other schemes can happen whilst people are traveling. You could then just intentionally travel so schemes couldn't happen against you. So yeah, it looks like everything except for romance, which makes sense. Seducing doesn't really work as much, but yeah, everything else looks like it's going to work. I know you're all eager for things like trade routes, so are we. This won't be coming in this expansion, but it's something we have our eye on in the future. A nice little tidbit in there for like out of nowhere. Trade routes. I guess this does set up, this system could be one they could use, like repurpose for trade routes. I could almost see like in the background how it would work. You could say, I want to build a trade route from my capital to Rome, and this is the route the trade route wants to take. You could build like outposts on the way to make the route safer and then just get money from it. I could actually see how this is a kind of first step towards trade routes. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, but Yeah, actually, them saying that is actually interesting. That could be, this system could be how they do trade routes, because then you could customize them however you wanted as well. Awesome. That's great. That's a nice little extra bit at the bottom. So here we go. We're on to Mecha66. He is going to cover how tours work. As I was saying, this is a huge dev diary this week. So here we go. We're going to go on about grand tours. What is a tour? Well, more broadly, a grand tour is an opportunity to use the travel system to hold royal visits across your realm, bringing you closer to your direct vassals and giving you the opportunity to get closer to sub-realms, usually in your periphery, yielding powerful rewards to help you manage your unruly subjects, both noble and lowborn. So as you can see here, it's a majesty store, a majesty tour. Some events will allow especially majestic actions. So the majesty tour is the first one. There's intimidation tour. I guess you go around and kind of improve your dread and, like, hey, I'm in charge. Don't step out of line. Or taxation tour. I guess you go around and just kind of shake down everyone, give us some money. So I guess if you're desperate for money, you can do this option. Now, the art screen is placeholder. I mean, it looks really good anyway, but it's going to get even better. Oh, yeah, it even says we're going to get even better art. I mean, this isn't too bad. It's not the worst. I mean, I can see how it is placeholder, but it's not the worst, to be honest. Better than most games would even have. Primarily, you will be visiting vassals, choosing from one of three things during your visit: tour the grounds, attend a dinner, or attend a cultural festival. Each of these will yield different rewards based on the realm you're visiting, and for yourself personally. Let's start with the tour the grounds. So as you can see, these are all the grounds, I guess. Yeah, destination selection. So these are all the options you can choose. Does it say what building it requires? Maybe he'll discuss it later. But yeah, it looks like you can tour. Basically, I guess you click on as many of these as you want, and then you kind of do your tour of all these areas. And it shows the options here. Customized tour, or basically all the different ones I guess you can go to. Here you can plan your route around your kingdom. And you can, so yeah, it looks like maybe you just click on them, like click, 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 click. This is the route I'm going to take. And then all the way down to Toulouse if you want to. And stops, tour the ground. So these are obviously the events that are going to happen every time you stop somewhere. Arrival at the tour of the grounds. The layout of this window is still being worked on. It looks quite nice though. I like this art in the background. It's really, really nice. So yeah, you arrive at Prince Massad's castle in, I'm not going to try to pronounce this place, I do apologize, is marked with fanfare befitting the Sultan of the realm, and the locals are clearly awed by your grandeur and pomp of your escort. So yeah, here we go, your interest recreation, and then you just have some events obviously that's going to affect things, improving your control and things like that. While touring the grounds of your vassals' holdings, you're having a look around a daily life of your vassals' capital, visiting the village, hanging out in their holdings, exploring their hunting grounds. Overall, this results in a boost in the control and counties within your vassal's realm, since it's difficult to ignore the authority of the king, and he's right on your doorstep. Oh, so this is a way to improve control places, because at the moment there's only really some random events, and then using the improve control council option, which usually takes forever to do unless you have a really high martial character. So this is cool. This is a way to improve control places. Obviously, as you're going around saying, hey, I'm the king and I'm in your land, so maybe you'll just do what I say. improve your ability to control your vassals, and obviously improving control gives you tax and levies as well, so it's all good. And so yeah, just an event here. You're going to imprison him. You're going to get some dread. You're going to lose some stress because of your arbitrary, and then improve the control level of Messina by 10. So yeah, some nice little outcomes of those. You'll also have the opportunity to boost your prestige and renown by flexing your hunting skills on your dear vassals. So yeah, you stop at this guy's hunting lodge, you do some stuff, you get some prestige, you get some renown. Oh, your grand tour becomes more majestic if you're good with prowess, or obviously it gets worse. It'd be funny if you just intentionally did one really bad, just to see kind of how bad the tour ends up. And then hosted dinner. So these are all events that are currently kind of in the game, just kind of fleshes them out, makes them a bit more interesting. And then obviously just a dinner thing, setting in for dinner. Again, this art looks amazing in the background, and obviously some nice event stuff here, some prestige, lose some dread, lose some stress even, and get an opinion modifier. And then next up we have a hosted dinner. The dinner is like the feast, but far more intimate. The dinner will give you opportunities not only to share some time with your vassal, but form friendships and gain hooks, but there's also an opportunity to interfere in their court. Oh, offering their courtiers a better life in the capital, becoming the guardian of your vassal's heir, discovering secrets at your vassal's court. Oh, yeah, that's cool. You can actually steal people out of their realm. I guess you meet somebody and say like, hey, why don't you come to my court? You're really good at prowess. Why are you doing in this in this guy's terrible court? Why don't you come visit me and come live with me? And that's cool. yeah, nice. There's some more events down here. So you get a strong hook, you get more majestic in your tour. I'll leave a link to the dev diary, as always, in the description down below if you want to look through these a bit more in depth. But there's so much for us to get through. We're just going to take a real quick look at some of these. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. Cultural Festival in Moray. And again, just a cool little event. Get some stuff. A lot of these, I think, are roughly like events that kind of happened anyway in the game, but obviously a bit more changed up, giving you a bit more interest in what's going on. Lastly, we have his personal favourite, the Cultural Festival. A realm is typically made up of a lot of people belonging to different faiths and cultures, and what better way to demonstrate the magnanimousness of your rule than to experience the strange traditions of your subjects? If you're a highly diverse realm like Khazaria, or a stranger in strange lands like a Norman invader, what an excellent opportunity to get some powerful bonuses to cultural acceptance. And then as you can see, this is going to be it. So this is actually going to be really cool for, like I said, if you have a large realm with a lot of different cultures, I don't know, maybe Africa in like the British Isles, things like that. Some other, obviously a lot of places in the map. They're just two off the top of my head. This is going to be really cool for increasing your cultural acceptance. Again, linking into previous expansions a little bit, or previous content at least. Spreading cultural acceptance around my realm by showing your subjects you embrace their traditions. Here we have an emperor visiting a Bulgarian nativity play. So yeah, awesome. Again, the art looks really good. But no culture is a monolith, of course, and cultural festivals can yield powerful rewards even if you're visiting a county of your own culture. Showing your respect for the customs of folks outside the capital will result in potent popular opinion gains, allowing you to bring your unruly subjects into line. Oh, so a cool way to... This would be really good, I imagine, for if you play as... You know, if you have a character and you're hated by everyone, and then you play as their heir, and they hate you because they hated your father or your mother. Maybe if you could do one of these really quick, like, as soon as you take over, look, I'm going to do a Majesty tour. I'm going to just show how cool I am. Here's a load of bonuses. Obviously, I guess there's a way for it to go wrong, so you can't just do it every time and like solve that issue. I imagine there's ways for this to go wrong, and you know, you make a fool of yourself, or you get in a fight with someone. I don't know. There must be options like that to make it so it's not predetermined that you always do well out of it. As we've seen before, some of these are affected by your stats, but I imagine there's like a random dice roll where something bad will happen sometimes, because otherwise it's a bit predetermined. And then the tour planner, similar to the one we saw above. Your tour consists of several stops across your realm, with one of the above activities taking place at each location. Here we have the beloved Byzantine Emperor planning a tour of his realm, having dinners with powerful vassals, touring the grounds of distant subjects, and observing the local culture of Armenian and Bulgarian subjects. A roundabout tour of the Byzantine Empire. Oh, that's what this means. So we saw this in the previous screenshot. I was wondering what these three icons mean. But that's what it is, isn't it? Yeah, so the first one must be like a dinner. No, the first one must be tour of the grounds. This must be dinner, and then this must be like a cultural event, I imagine. And that must be what... maybe you can do all three. It looks like this one you can't do. This one looks grayed out, so... Oh, maybe because he's a child. Oh, yeah, maybe because... Yeah, he's a child by the looks of it, so maybe you can't have like an intimate dinner. Be a bit weird, wouldn't it? But yeah, it looks like, yeah, this is dinner. This is like a cultural, like, recreation event. And this is like tour the grounds or something like that. And then obviously the routes. And then this is the route he's going to take. 2,300 gold. Okay, so they're not cheap. But obviously he's the Emperor of the Byzantine. So he's probably got some money. This is going to be a way for us to kind of dump money, I guess, for other resources. You know, money dump, you're going to get prestige and things out of it. But yeah, again, this looks really good. It looks pretty self-explanatory as well. And then a traveling court. Visiting nobles isn't the only thing you're doing on your tour, of course. You're traveling with your court. You'll get a chance to meet with your lowest subjects. What you do with them is exactly up to you, of course. You may encounter drunken mutterings of rebellion in a tavern or accosted by highwaymen on the road. While most travel events are just about things that happen on your journey, a tour travel event is an opportunity to remind your commoners that their liege is ever present. To this effect, we have several interesting intents. Intents in tours determine what exactly you hope to do with commoners. Oh, so you can kind of specialize how the tour is kind of looked on, or kind of like roughly what you're thinking of doing. So there's recreation, lechery, altruism or justice. And does it go into... Oh, yeah, it does go into what the different ones mean. So yeah, kind of like a general theme of the tour. So you can do those little events at each place. But then there's like a general theme of what's going to be going on. You seek to distribute justice to even the pettiest of criminals within your realm. This often leads to increasing control, and just characters may lose stress. So that's cool. Well, we'll obviously see what the other ones do, but that's cool. Increase control, and yeah, just characters may lose stress. So I guess if you're a just ruler, or maybe just characters in your realm as well, it would affect, I guess, because they see you kind of acting that way. So we'll start with a more stone-faced intent, altruism and justice. So yeah, they are going to go through each one. As I said, it's a huge dev diary. So much information here. The altruism intent is inspired much by the concept of both charity and the royal touch. The belief that the king has the power to heal the sick with his touch. On an altruistic route across your realm, you will show your piousness and generosity to your realm, giving piety, popular opinion, and stress loss with the right traits. Obviously, if you're alternate traits, if you're callous or something, this isn't going to go well for you. But if you have the right ones, compassionate, zealous, it's going to be a good time for you. And then, yeah, little event here. I guess, has she got leprosy or something? She got the plague, and she's like, hey, king, you can cure me. And you're like, second thoughts. Second thoughts, I don't think I do. So perhaps a light touch on the forehead. Get those filthy sausages away from me. Oh, dear. Awesome. A blessing with you, a bad memory for me. So yeah, it looks like there's a chance to become sick and you get stressed. I guess he isn't compassionate or something. So this option is saying like, oh, he's going to get stressed from doing this. So that's pretty funny how that works. Justice is your chance to remind commoners that the crown is ever present and you can show justice, whatever it may mean to you. This can include judging local trials, meeting with peasant leaders, and sending in your men to clear out bandits. Justice results in stress loss for the appropriate traits and some chance to fill your dungeon and increase control along the route. Local justice, so again, just a little event. They're currently in Pagan. I think that is in the east of India, if I remember correctly. So yeah, execute them. Serving me will be her punishment. So I guess you can bring her along, say like, hey, you've done really bad things. Why don't you come back to the capital and we've got some jobs for you to do. And again, obviously affected by how you are. So I guess if you have a pious character, you know, altruism will do well. But if you don't, you're obviously not going to be able to do it, or you're going to run the risk of bad events happening. As I was saying earlier on in the video, it's good that they're kind of looking at it that way, and you can't always pick the one that's good for you because it is based on your traits. So, you know, certain characters will only be good at certain versions of it or get the most out of it. And then we're going to look at the next one. Lustful characters can also benefit from the lechery tent, giving you the opportunity to seek out new paramours on the road and pay visit to local brothels to reduce the stress and find new lovers. If your player enjoys lustful content, this is the content for you. Otherwise, the lechery intent is entirely opt-in. What you want to get out of it is up to you. So yeah, if you like playing that memeable content in the game, this is all for you. I do like how it is opt-in though. So if you don't want to do this, then you don't have to. But it's probably kind of leaning into the meme side of Crusader Kings a little bit. So yeah, some cool events. You find some things to keep your character busy. Lastly, we have the relax intent, which is the default. In this intent, you just want to use your time on the road to visit taverns and take it easy on your tour, giving you large gains in stress reduction. So you just have a cool time. You're just traveling around, having a good time, lose some stress, get a little bit of bonuses, but you're not kind of focusing on anything in particular. So, although he did find a den of sin, so he's going to have a good time anyway. And there we go. I think we're nearly getting to the end, guys. So if you've enjoyed the video so far, it's been a long one. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here. I cover the dev diaries for Crusader Kings and I play a bunch of historical titles on the channel. But let's keep going. Tour type. But there is more. What primarily motivates your tour is determined by your tour type, of which there are three: Magistry, Taxation, and Intimidation. These options will determine what exactly it is you demand from your vessels when you stop by for a visit. Is it just to show them how great you are, to collect taxes, or to strike fear in unruly subjects? A Majesty's tour is all about vassal opinion and prestige. During your visits, you'll show your grace and magnificence to all. We saw this earlier a little bit, so yeah, the Majesty's tour. Taxation tour is all about finding those little loopholes and oversights your vassals have been taking advantage of and tying them up and taking what is rightfully yours. It will cause some upset, but it's worth it to fill your treasury. So yeah, a little bit of opinion modifier reduction. If you're desperate for money, I guess you just do this. Like, okay, I'm going to upset people, but I really need some money. Intimidation tours are all about showing your subjects how much they should fear you. You'll get chances to do all manner of things to unsettle your subject. Direct confrontation is a powerful tool and can even motivate some vessels to leave their hostile factions against you. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, if you have maybe a bunch of factions going on, you could be like, look, I'm going to do an intimidation tour. I'm going to tour my realm and say, look, guys, I'm the boss here. Like, cut it out. Cut it out. Taking these earn dread So basically all the events are leaning more towards basically scaring people and doing things like that. So it looks like you can specialize your tour a lot. You've got these 3 general views, and then you've got these, what were they called? The intents as well. So you have the general goal of the tour, you have the intent, like kind of what you want the little stops to be about. So there's a lot going on in this system. It'd be interesting to see what mods do with this. It's going to be pretty insane, I would think. So there you go. Which tour type are you most interested in trying first? They want to hear your thoughts in the dev diary. As I said, I'll leave a link to it down below. So if you want to go in and give your feedback, do so. They're always active in there, giving responses, updates, and things like that. So yeah, that's our first look basically at it. Oh, actually, there's a little bit more. Each time you perform an action which corresponds with your selected tour type, it will increase your tour success bar here. The rewards you get for the end of each tour will scale and change depending on how successful you've been in achieving your goals. And if done right, is a powerful tool to strengthening and stabilizing your realm. So yeah, you have like a bar here. Yeah, Majesty Tour Success. So yeah, I guess if you focus on Majesty each time, it gets better. You just get better and better at doing it, so you get better rewards. I guess it helps you. You don't want to like scattergun, just do all the different types all the time. But again, as we've said before, because they're affected by your character's traits and stats, you're probably likely to focus on one more than the other. If you're playing a seducing character, you're probably going to do the seducing one quite a bit of the time. Or if you're an intrigue-focused character, you're probably going to do intimidation most of the time. So again, it's kind of like pushing you towards different ones, but you can do all of them if you want to. Again, I like this for how I play. I play characters as I get them in the game. If you've watched any of my series on the channel, I always play characters as I get them. I don't respec them or anything. So again, this would be cool for like, not, well, I want to say like forcing me to do the different types, but it would just make logical sense to do the different types depending on what character I have. So I like it. Tours are a big investment in both time and money, as we've seen with that Byzantine one. But they also yield powerful and long-lasting rewards, everything from cultural acceptance to control and dread to prestige. A tour is an all-encompassing realm management tool, taking your court on the road and bringing the present to a crown wherever it is needed. That's all for now. We'll be around for answers as always. As I said, they're always answering questions in the comments, so do go there if you have a question. See you all next week, where we'll talk about some of the smaller but broader systematic changes we've made to vassals, buildings, men-at-arms, and more. As I said, they talked about it last week, that buildings are going to rework, and as we've seen, they build into this system so much, there's obviously going to be some changes coming. So it sounds like next week's might be a little bit smaller dev diary. I mean, I'm loving how big this dev diary is. This is going to be like a 45-minute video, though, so I hope you've all enjoyed it if you've stuck around till now. And yeah, next week it looks like we're getting just more of a what they're going to kind of update in the game that we have already. So how vassals, buildings, men-at-arms, kind of like what systematic changes, as it says, the kind of the updates to the game that are coming as part of this expansion, which I imagine, again, well, they'll have to be part of the free patch. They can't have vassals and buildings, I think, working drastically different if you're patched or if you're an expansion player or not. So I imagine they're mostly going to be part of the free patch. So we'll see. As they've already said, the main travel system is going to be part of the free patch, and there'll obviously be bonus content if you have the expansion by the sound of it. So anyway, that is where we're going to leave it for today. As I said, this is going to be like a 40-minute video, so I appreciate it if you're stuck around to the end. A lot of stuff in here. I might do a follow-up video in a couple of days talking about some things. That trade thing really has me interested, so we might do a video about how that could work in the future. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed it. Hit that like button if you have. Subscribe if you want to follow the dev diaries and the build-up to the expansion and other historic games that I play. But we'll leave it there, and I'll see you in the next one.